what are your thoughts on men in Islam having to like marry more than one woman?
That's interesting. So that's actually an amazing question. And I want to point out first is men do not have to marry more than one woman. Like that's not.
Is it?
It's an option. So Islam inherited a world where polygamy already existed, right? So it didn't introduce polygamy. So this is like the first thing to point out. Polygamy already existed, and Islam came at a time where polygamy existed, and it put barriers on it. It's in a world where you could have as many wives as you wanted. It said the maximum you can have is 4. And there are a lot of rules, like you have to treat them justly. You can't have one that you love and the rest that you like see every now and again and treat badly and don't give any money to and all this kind of thing. You have to treat them all equally. That's like one of the rules behind it. And the reason that polygamy was so important in that society specifically is because what happened is there were a lot of wars, a lot of men died, a lot of women in a time where women had no like autonomy, they had no like ability to really look after themselves because they hardly ever worked. What would happen in that society if a woman, let's take this 100 years ago in the UK, what would happen to a woman who didn't have a husband? Here's a story that I heard recently of a woman. This is like sparked the whole feminism movement, by the way. There was this woman and she had a child and she gave birth. She didn't have any money. She was doing cleaning, like little cleaning jobs here and there. She had hardly any money. She gave birth to her child in a derelict room at the top of a hotel. Its windows were broken and the child got hypothermia from the cold coming through the windows and died. And she went to prison because she killed her child, because this is what life was like for women in those times. Women who didn't have men had zero protection, had zero money. They were forced into prostitution most of the time. They lived an absolutely horrific life. Now, alhamdulillah, it's very different. But this is like, you got to think of the context of what life would have been like for a woman who had no husband at the time. A lot of men were dying because of war. A lot of women were left behind. And those women needed protection. They needed somebody to protect them. So they were very happy to go into polygamous situations. They were very happy to be like, look, I'm a widow. I've got children. I've got no way of looking after my kids. I'm happy to be someone's second, third, fourth wife, 4th maximum, no more than 4. And the Quran says you must treat them justly. You must treat them equally. Like, for example, Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, all of his wives were widows apart from one. Every single wife was a widow apart from one. So it's really important to look at the context of like what it is to show up and look after a woman. Let's look at Western society, what happens in Western society, just as an example. You can have unlimited girlfriends, right? You can have 100 girlfriends, you can have 200 girlfriends, you can have 600 girlfriends, like nobody cares. Yeah. What's happening in the world right now is we have a lot of girls going into this kind of sugar daddy world. And what happens in this sugar daddy world is these women will be like a girlfriend or a mistress to some man. They won't be married, so they have no rights. And he will literally just drop them whenever he wants. He'll like pay for their lifestyle, like, here you go, here's £10,000, here's this. But then when he finds this next one, he just drops them. So marriage is very different. Marriage comes with a lot of rights. You have to protect the woman. You have to provide for her financially. In Islam, you have to provide financially for your woman. You have to be there for her emotionally. There are lots of like rights a woman has in marriage. Pew Research did a study and they found that 1 in 5 American men have had a secret romantic partner during their relationship. So like men are doing this, like, but now the world that men live in, they can just get it wherever they want. Like they don't have to marry. They don't have to give someone dignity and respect and provide for them financially. They can be married and they can just go and have like just a one-off with just some random girl and then go back to their married life. And then they can go and have a one-off with another random girl. This is 1 in 5 men that are having secret romantic partners during their relationship. Like this is a huge number.
No, it is. And like a man that has multiple wives could still do that as well and not tell those wives, which is crazy because I feel like that's happened.
Oh, really? Yeah. So this whole secret wife thing is not part of our religion. Like there are some people that practice it, but it's not.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you're saying, but I feel like in every religion, you're going to get people that are going to not always abide by the rules. Like you can have 4 wives, 3 wives, and then you will have secret girlfriends. It's like, I've heard stories like that. So it's one of those things, because I know in Christianity, it's not a thing where you can have more than 1 wife, even though I know in Islam it's an option. If you choose to do that, that's something you want to do. But it just shows that men, no matter what, religious or not all men, but some of them are just, either promiscuous, and then polygamy is something that I think is built in them. So yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Bible doesn't say you're not allowed to practice polygamy. The Bible speaks about Solomon has more than one wife, Abraham has more than one wife. It actually gives examples of more than one wives. It never says you're not allowed to do it. So the Bible doesn't actually speak on polygamy. It doesn't say you're allowed to or not allowed to, but it does give examples of righteous people that do it. So you would be allowed to do it in Christianity is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I get what you mean, and I know it says that, but in like today, like that's not something that is practiced. Like if you're, especially in a church, if you're a Christian, it's not a thing where, okay, you've got a wife now, and now you are able to have a life. If that does, you get what I mean? Yeah. And I think some people will even, not all, but some people get into the religion for that. Oh, I could have more than one wife, you know, like where something's glorified, and that I don't think that should be the purpose of why you get in. That's not what the religion's about.
Let's see how it practices in the United Kingdom, for example. The average rent is like what? Let's say 1,500 here in London.
Yeah.
So a man would have to, that's just rent, right? So let's say probably finance, let's say minimum $2,000 a month to look after a woman in the UK, just as a minimum, like a minimum in London. A man in a Western lifestyle could have as many girlfriends as he wants. He doesn't have to provide for them. He can even have sex with them once and then never see them ever again. But a man in Islam, he cannot just go out and have, you know, willy-nilly with whoever he wants. He has to marry the woman. So he has to, let's say he marries one woman, he's with her for a few years, and then he marries another woman. That's $2,000 here. That's $2,000 here. And he marries another woman. That's another $2,000. Another one. That's another $2,000. Like, you're ending up paying like $8,000 a month for a lifestyle that if you were not Muslim, you could just have for free. And you could have way more women and it'd be way more easier. You could just go on Tinder, find somebody for a night and then go off. Like, it's so much easier. Like the whole idea of somebody becoming Muslim to have more wives, it doesn't make sense to me, because you can have as many girlfriends as you want. And especially in the UK, like girls allow it. Like girls will allow you to be with them for like 10 years and not get married.
Yeah, which is cool.
Literally like no difference between marriage and girlfriends in the UK. Yeah,
which is mad. But that's it. Then it's one of those things in like Christianity and Islam. You get the ones that go into religion for certain things, or they have their own interior motives. Some people purposely go to a church to find women. So it's like back to my point of like in Islam, you get the good ones and you get the bad ones, the same as Christianity. Because I know some, like I've got some Muslim friends that one of them, he's married and he wants to get another wife. I've even said, you can't even afford the first wife, so why is that something that you would want to do? But it's like, oh, I want another one, this one's not working. So I just think, oh, come on. That's not a good reason. But it just shows, because we're all human.
You're right.
Yeah, no one's, obviously you get people that abide by, you know, the rules of the religion, but we all make mistakes. It's like no one's perfect. We're still learning, we're still growing. And this is something I feel like people need to think about, like before you get into religion. Make sure it's a thing where you want to get into it in like from a good place, not from like certain things you've read and think, oh, this sounds good, I could get this, because there's loads of men out there that are like that.
And what's happening with your friends, like subhanallah, like, you know what, this is actually an issue. And I heard a scholar speak about this recently, and they said, if you want to get another wife because your first marriage is not working, that is absolutely not a reason for you to get another wife.
Exactly. That's what I
feel. That is absolutely not a reason for you to get another wife.
It's not. Exactly. Well, it makes more sense to work on that marriage than getting another wife. And I think because I've even... Oh, you can hear me? Oh, yeah. Some people do it to spite their current wife, which is, I don't think is right. And this is even what I'm saying. It's not a thing to just target like men of Islam, because there's Christian men that do a lot. I just think I feel like it's not to bring them down, but I think it's a problem on their part, where whether you're religious or not, you need to work on you before you even enter a marriage, because there's certain things that a marriage requires, and we all know cheating is not something that a marriage requires at all. And I think it's something that you need to think about the person that you're with, or even before you get married, because some people are actually not ready to get married. But some of the reasons that why they get married is because, oh, now we don't want to have like sex before marriage, so let's get married. And then some people do it quicker and they weren't actually ready for it. So
yeah. See, when it comes to divorce, like a divorce is allowed in Islam. So if your relationship, if your marriage is not working, there's no reason for you to, I mean, obviously, like you go through the process, you don't just go, oh, I can't be bothered with this anymore. If it genuinely, there is something there that means it is genuinely not working, then you're allowed to get divorced. Like there's not a problem. Yeah, there is an issue with maybe like the modern day Muslim and this polygamy thing, because there are men that, like you said, are using it to spite their first wife, which is obviously not okay. And there are men that are probably, maybe that. And then the secret marriage thing as well, that causes so many problems. Like polygamy is there to solve issues in society in terms of, specifically at that time as well, in terms of like women not having protection, rights, etc., and men needing to look after them. It's not there for like desire purposes. Like, for example, there are some women, and I know some women that are in like polygamous marriages, and it works very well. Like the first wife is on board, the second wife is on board. I don't know anyone that's got more than two, but let's say two for the example. And, you know, perhaps the man is well off. Perhaps he's traveling between countries and maybe he has like a family in London. He has a family in Dubai, for example. I know this is an example. And the wives are completely okay with it because they get their lifestyles paid for. Their lifestyles are fully paid for. They have their lives. They have their friends. They have their kids. They see their husband maybe 3 times a week. The other one sees the husband maybe 3 times a week. And they're all completely okay, and the wives even get on because they're friends. They're like, look, we have something in common. I know this is like can be kind of weird, like in Western culture, but it does exist. Like it does exist.
Oh, it does, and at least they're in the know. Like they know about it. I hate when, like you said, the secret marriages. That's not good. But what about for you? Is that something? Could you be a second wife? Would that be something you'd be okay with? Or
yeah, it would. It would, honestly. I've realized this like since becoming Muslim. I'm really attracted to pious men, so like men who are like really practicing in the religion. And what happens with a lot of pious men is they're very like they will marry and they will make it work with their wives, you know. They will like put the effort in with their wives, they'll make it work. And then maybe they're like in their 40s or 50s. I like older men, by the way. Maybe they're in their like 40s.
No, but you know what? They take care of women. They really do. I think the older they are, because you know we mature quicker than men. That's what I think anyway. But, But so I understand. I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. So like maybe an older guy, maybe in his 40s or 50s, been married for like 20 years. And he loves his wife. He doesn't want to leave his wife. He loves his kids. He loves his family. But maybe he has the financial ability to take on another family, especially me as a single mum, to take on another family and to spend time with her on a part-time basis. And me also as a single mum. It's not that I think because I'm a single mum I'm less than anyone else. That's not what it is. It's that because I'm a single mum, I've developed a life with my child where maybe a man doesn't fit in 100% of the time.
That's for me, because I don't want to be all up in his space. I need my space. So I think saying it makes sense.
Exactly. And you and King have made your life together. So it's like maybe having someone full time there could be like really tough for you. It's not for everyone, but for me personally, I do feel like this. So I feel like me personally, I would prefer somebody on more of a part-time basis so that I have time with my daughter, I have time to myself, I have time with him. I can put a lot into those relationships because I'm not doing all 3 at the same time. And it's like this big overwhelming thing. And I can, you know, when I'm with my husband, I can really put the effort in there. When I'm with myself, I can really put the effort in there. When I'm with Khadija, I can really put the effort in there. And I can share myself more equally and not feel so burdened. So for me, like polygamy like is a very great situation. If I didn't have a child, I probably wouldn't feel that way. But because of the life I've developed with my child, I think polygamy is a great situation. And if you look at polygamous marriages in the past, pretty much all the polygamous marriages, you know, end up being women with kids. Because it's just for them, it's just more beneficial. You know, as a single mom, it's so hard to like look after all the finances by yourself. Having that burden taken off your head fully in Islam, the man has to pay for everything. So that burden fully taken off your head, like you do not have to worry about money one bit, but also you get to have that company on a part-time basis and you still get to have your life. Like it's a win-win for me. This is how I feel.
Yeah, that's